Alrighty guys, here we go. Let's go ahead and introduce our players in the top left-hand corner, spawning as the Canadian Protoss. We have Mr. Macroman himself. We got DragOn.
And in the bottom left corner as the blue Zerg, we have cRoSs. cRoSs, first time in a major tournament in a final, at least as far as I know. So some nerves should be in play. DragOn, of course, was already here last North American tournament, so much more experience on the big stage, as you would say. I mean, the stage isn't that huge, but some nerves still come into play when you're playing, especially knowing people are going to be watching later. This isn't live after all, but
DragOn is
still could expect some nerves from cRoSs, I would say. And we have DragOn coming up for the final. Let's see if he's going to scout with this or just leave it in his base.
We're heading back to the base here, looks like.
Alright, so it's going to be a 1 gate from DragOn. Already mixing it up. He's known to be a Forge first player, but we saw against Type 2 he really did mix up his build, even went for 2 gate once. We have cRoSs gonna overpool.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's gonna get that first scout in, so that's gonna be key. And there's the gateway.
So cRoSs is, I'd say, more of an aggressive player, not to the level that Type 2 is, of course, but that's certainly a very good plan, I think, against DragOn. I think there are more passive players who are going to have a much more difficult time beating him. How do you feel like these two players match up? I'd say that they're pretty even. I think I might give cRoSs the advantage stylistically a little bit, but DragOn's definitely one of the best late game players in the foreign scene.
Yeah, I think cRoSs is just very aggressive in the mid game. You're going to see him commit to a lot of hydros, rely on his macro and unit control to just win, whereas Drag is probably a very similar player. He's macro oriented, but he's really about that big 2-ult timing. Just trying to try to get as many units as possible and hit Zerg at that timing. And we're just going to see a lot of clashes in the mid game. Now we have cRoSs going for a very interesting follow-up to what DragOn's doing. So this build, the cRoSs is doing with overpull, it's very important he keeps the probe out, because he's actually going for a semi-island build. You can see with his gas timing at 215, super fast, he's going to go for speed. Now he's never going to stop making links. He's never going to stop making links with this build. Already sending drones to mine gas. You have probes blocking. DragOn is not aware of what cRoSs is doing. He's sending out that first Zala, of course.
This is interesting. Showing the third pair of links is a little interesting.
Alright, so DragOn already retreating with this first Zala, but it shouldn't be able to get back into the base. And DragOn, let's see, he's going to go for Nexus. Yeah, DragOn going to go for Nexus before Forge. So this is big trouble for DragOn. You have cRoSs already with 100 gas. He's pulling off. Speed is on the way, and he's still making links. Now, he can't reveal to Drag what the build this is. Look, we had a Zealot at 9 o'clock. Scouted the links moving. Drag's going to have 2 Zealots in time for this, but his wall isn't complete.
6lings can defeat 2 Zealots here if they're microed correctly, but unfortunately it's very difficult to do this. You got to get the surface area on the first Zealot here. Looks like the probes are not coming over here to help or block it all, though. So the Zerglings get a fantastic engagement. We're just going to keep on going here. I really like that DragOn has got this 1 Zealot here in the main of cRoSs to kind of distract and try to create some big issues for cRoSs to micro against here. cRoSs doing his best. Oh my god, look at what cRoSs is doing here. He's literally running these Zergling around drones so the drones get to shoot it, and the Zealot just doesn't attack. But unfortunately, the Zealot is going to get cleaned up here for DragOn, and in the meantime, cRoSs's got quite a nice little army here at the front. The gateway is very close to getting down here now. He does have to bust this down before the cannon gets up here, because we're going to have an issue where these Zerglings are able to get sniped off by this cannon. But it looks like he's going to do it. The Zealots are getting really very low. There we go, and we're getting it on top of this now. The Zealots should be enough to slow this down and not let the cannon go down. But, okay, we have 2 more Zerglings arriving here, and this is a big deal.
Yeah, with this cannon going down, Drag can no longer just stand behind his wall as the cannon shoots the links. We have cRoSs rallying more links across the map. Of course, he stayed on that same drone number, never stopped producing links. Losing the gateway means Dragon's not going to have any more units. Ooh. This cannon is the only thing that's going to attack once it's done. We only have 1 Zealot. We have a lot of probes. We probably needed to bring even more probes to defend from this attack, but just too many points from cRoSs and GG.
Very aggressive play, as we had mentioned at the beginning of this cast here. cRoSs goes up a very quick first victory here in the series.
Very aggressive play from from cRoSs. He never got into the main to confirm his build. Against that build, you do need to go Forge before Nexus, and then if cRoSs plays safe, Zerg isn't forced to make a ton of lings, and we probably pivot into a normal game. The Drag not seeing that, very unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's the type of loss that can really ruin your mentality going into the rest of the series, because you just feel so stupid losing to something like that. Hopefully Dragon's got that kind of like cold steel type of mentality where it's just like, whatever we lost, it doesn't matter. We're going to go play this game in again like we're supposed to. Hopefully it doesn't affect his build orders at all, but I know that that is a certainly very tilting way of going into the series.
We have map 2 in the bottom left corner spawning as a red Zerg cRoSs. This, of course, is Dragon's pick.
And speaking of, in the top right-hand corner, we have DragOn as the green Protoss. Now, this has been a very, very popular map to pick against Zerg players for our Protoss players. Generally speaking, this has been almost the first pick for all the Protoss players in the series. And the funny thing is that, you know, we talked about how good it is to split this map and how late game this can be pretty good for Protoss players, but we've seen a lot of Zergs do a lot of work here on the high grounds to the third base and really get themselves some very serious advantages in these games. So it hasn't been the most Protoss favored map that I can think of. You know, we haven't seen, you know, catastrophic losses to Protoss over and over and over again on match point.
Yeah, it should still be interesting. It really suits Dragon style. We're not going to see any one gate openings on this. We're going to see Forge expand. We're going to see large mid-game attacks on that high ground. And that's where Dragon really shines, just controlling that big 2-0 army, using his storms, engaging with Dragoons patiently against lurker fields. That's his real strength in this matchup. Now we have cRoSs going for an overpull, and Drag with this pylon scout. He's going to see everything well ahead of time. Going to get a Forge and then a Nexus. Doesn't have to worry about getting cannons up really fast. Now what you were saying is maybe Drag is thrown off actually, because for him to go one gate, not something he normally does, and for it to just get absolutely demolished, it's gonna make him go think maybe I shouldn't do that again. But
yeah. Getting punished for going out of your comfort zone certainly does have that negative effect on your mentality. Yeah, so we do have that Forge first. Of course, this is like the standard build for this map, right? You don't really want to go gate first on this just in general, so it's not super surprising that he would pick that. But maybe we would have seen something like a Nexus first had he not.
Yeah, the two options on this map are Nexus first or Forge first. Basically, the gateway, if you were to go gateway opening, it would get there far too slowly, even against a 12 hatch, so that's why you don't see anything. You also don't have any good positions to put your zealots. You can see the middle lines behind the main are very wide. You have cRoSs here taking gas before the third hatch, so we've been seeing that. Zergs take their gas out their third hatch and then not going Spire, because of course if you do that, your Spire is going to be very late. You know, the probe being kept alive from Dragon, very low on health, so good job by cRoSs to keep poking at this. With 2 lings, it's pretty difficult to kill a probe. Dragon playing normally, getting a pylon, gonna get a second gas, and eventually a core. He wants to keep this probe alive to confirm the tech from cRoSs. He needs to see if it's gonna be Lair or Hydra Den.
Ooh, this probe is getting dangerously low, though. We've only just arrived at the 50 gas mark here. If we get this probe, this could be potentially a game-losing problem here for Dragon.
Yeah, here we go. Now this is the time where the Lair goes down and he just makes it in front of Probe's face. He could have been cute and made it at the natural. This could, of course, also be a fake. He shows the Lair, cancels it as the Probe leaves, and throws down a Hydra Den.
One more HP. These lings are going to catch up. There we go. Alright, layer is continuing to build, so it looks like we're just going to go ahead and stay for a more standard approach for cRoSs this time. Of course, this doesn't preclude the option of going mutalist or anything like that, so that is an option as well, and something that I'm sure cRoSs does pretty often. But, as for now, we're at least heading towards a more normal mid-game.
We have links being spread across the map, trying to see if any zealots have been sent out. We have cRoSs still just producing drones, trying to get his economy up. Meanwhile, DragOn, with the core done, he throws down a Stargate, playing safe and standard. Second gas should be going up shortly. There it is. And now we have cRoSs throwing down that Spire. So Spire timing is good. We're going to be able to rely on Scourge to defend and protect our Overlords. We only have one Overlord close to cRoSs base. We're checking the timing of the +1, basically. We want to see if cRoSs went Stargate first or he got +1 first.
Yep. +1 just finished too, so that's going to be a good indicator of what happened there. Of course, we just had speed finishing up too as well, so things looking pretty good in general now. This is kind of an interesting choice here. It looks like we have a DragOn in production. I'm not sure if that is to just poke at the Overlord or whatnot, but that is generally a very strange deviation of a build order unless you've got the Overlord directly in your base.
Alright, so we have cRoSs mixing things up. He's actually made only 19 drones, and he's actually making a ton of lings. This is about 2-3 control groups of lings, and he's hiding them on this part of the map. I think he's waiting for DragOn to commit. DragOn ever moves out, he'll of course just run right in there. He's leaving these zealots at the choke. Is he going to reveal all his lings? So he's bringing all his lings.
Oh my gosh, and the zealots move out! Oh my god, it was kind of a bait though, looks like. Not bad. Now this is still enough zealots or Zerglings to burn down this wall here and open up the floodgates for the Zerglings to rush in here. With only 1 gate production here, DragOn really doesn't have very much in the way of additional fighting units. Now the question is, are we going to be able to take out the second cannon? That's going to be massive, as you can't really reinforce it. Does not look like that's the case. The Forge is almost dead, 250 HP left, and if we're able to cancel the +1 upgrade, that'll be huge. Of course, we do have to get inside of this base and do more damage than just canceling the upgrade. Oh my god,
very good blocking from Drag, but that cannon is about to die. It goes down.
Alright.
Still have a good wall, and the second cannon is about to finish. And it looks like the attack from cRoSs, at least for the moment, is over.
Now, DragOn does have his Corsair in the air. That's going to allow him to watch to make sure that, you know, this is still an all-in, so it's going to let him know, alright, I got to make more cannons, or I got to continue to produce units, or what the deal is. So DragOn should have a pretty good beat on what's going on here at this point, and I don't think that we're going to see any kind of catastrophic failure of the defense here. We already have a good number of zealots built up. +1, unfortunately, did not finish, so that is going to be a little bit of a detriment to the efficacy of the zealots versus the Zerglings, but overall, they're still pretty powerful units, especially early game versus Zerglings, so I think that they'll be just fine. This is a pretty huge commitment, though, and as you can see, we're 10 workers behind right now.
Yeah, we have cRoSs switching into mutas after this, and now Drag is ready for that. He realizes cRoSs can only make 2 things at this point, Zerglings and mutas, so he has 2 cannons in the main. There's a cannon in his mineral line at the net, and he's completing his wall, so he's very secure against the mutas, but cRoSs is actually hiding these mutas. With 8 mutas and a couple Scourge, he can easily defeat these Corsairs. They're very exposed right now. I think they'll be able to take down this cannon, and Drag is not suspecting this muta switch at all. He didn't keep making Corsairs. Now he's going to get caught off guard.
Yep. The cannons do go down very quickly. Not particularly powerful in the way of dealing with mutalists. Of course, we have gotten a good number of muta kills here so far, just via the cannons, so that's not bad. cRoSs does have his Scourge chasing the Corsairs, so if they ever stop to try and get something done here versus these mutalists, they may end up getting cloned to death here.
Yeah, we have cRoSs rallying more mutas and Scourge. So he's following up the all-in with another attack. And DragOn's gonna get caught off guard. He's sending out his zealots to try to distract cRoSs, but cRoSs realizing this, all he has to do is make a sunken a couple lings, and he'll defend easily while he raids DragOn's main.
Yep, he does have a good number of Zerglings in production right now, as well as, I believe, a sunken at the natural expansion. That is just about halfway done. Oh my gosh, and we have 2 pairs of Scourge connecting already. Now, the cannon in the natural expansion is alright, but it's not in a fantastic place to keep them super well defended because there isn't really a great spot to put it behind a mineral line or anything like that.
Yeah, Dragon's basically down to single-digit probes at this point.
Yeah.
He does still have all the Corsairs go down as well, and now we have nothing protecting either mineral line.
Oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. cRoSs with an insane follow-up to his already pretty insane Zergling all-in. Takes yet another game off of DragOn. And let's take a look at the scoreboard. I mean, if you look at what's going on here, at the end of that game, cRoSs had even up the supply of workers so often that he ended up catching up on resources mine, which is pretty insane considering how short of a time that he was actually doing damage there.
Dragon getting caught off guard big time. Well played by cRoSs though. That he had a very tiny window to send those lings in. Very, very tiny.
Oh my gosh, and our biggest fan, Starfucker in the chat again, once again donating 150 bullets. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the support, man. Alrighty, guys. So this is a best of 7, so there is still quite a ways to go here in order to claim the victory. But this is a fantastic start for cRoSs. I honestly, I mean, he has just got his foot all the way down on the gas. No breaks involved in any of his build orders. And he has just been able to murder Dragon multiple times here now.
Yeah, we have Dragon's pick of the map, and we're going to jump into game 3, and it's Eclipse. We have Dragon spawning in the bottom left as the yellow Protoss, down 0-2. Not a position Dragon probably expected to be in. Let's see how he can play from here.
Alright, in the hyper-aggressive Korean-Canadian Zerg in the top right-hand corner as the red Zerg, we have cRoSs, and he is up again 2-0 so far in the series and showing no signs of stopping. He has been playing super aggressive and with just really great, smart moves and good control has been able to dominate his opponent so far in this series. Of course, Dragon is certainly not close to being out yet, but it's certainly a good advantage for him to have. Oh man, if I was cRoSs, I'd feel on top of the world right now. He's got so much room to mix in a lot of creative, risky build orders and stuff like that now. Once you've got yourself a nice 2-0 padding, you can do a lot of things that are potentially, you know, like very map specific or very, very risky as far as, you know, your 50-50 split type of build orders. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to see what he has in the tank next.
Yeah, looks like Dragon... Looks like Dragon is just going to go with the game plan. I think he game planned to go 1 gate on this map, and having failed to do anything with 1 gate in game number 1, he's not going to be scared of just going with what he planned in the series. So another gateway expand.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that comes from years of experience. Dragon has been playing in our tournaments and...
Oh, switch the screen. Switch the screen.
Oh my gosh, it didn't switch? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. Well, anyways, we do have a 1 gate expand here versus an overpull so far. What I was saying, Dragon, very experienced player, just in tournaments in general. And this is something that really doesn't work out for most players unless you've been playing in tournaments for a long time. Usually a couple losses will put you back into your comfort zone. You know, you're going to play your safety build, stuff that you're really used to. Something that you do all the time, but Dragon, as you said, you know, he's quite the veteran. He's not going to be scared off by losing 2 games in a row here from his game plan. Looks like we already have 2 Zealots on the queue here, so they're going to be a pretty aggressive 1 gate expand here. Going to be delaying his Nexus for a little bit, and looks like cRoSs has a good idea of what's going on here as well. So hopefully he is able to prepare a very nice response to that. Already have a whole bunch of Zerglings in preparation. Got 8 lings on the way so far, 6 on the field, 1 more pair in the eggs. And that's going to be plenty for a defense here, I think.
Yeah, behind this Drag is not even interesting in attacking. He's actually playing very safely. He's getting a Forge. Now this is a little bit different. We don't have cRoSs going for a gas. And he's actually taking a 3rd hatch, so this might be an overreaction from Drag going for Forge first before the Nexus. Now, this is a lot of lings, but 2 Zealots with a 3rd on the way can easily hold off 6 lings.
Oh no. Dragon opens up the door just a little bit too soon here now. Zerglings are slightly faster than Zealots. So it's going to take some pretty decent micro to not take too much damage here. We already have one probe going down, but this is going to be a lot of delayed mining time at the very least. Oh my gosh, 2 probes get glitched through the back of the mineral line here, so we get another early probe. Very, very nice pickup. We have a glitched Zergling over here. That's a little unfortunate. So 1 Zergling goes down completely for free. Meantime, we do have a nice scout also on the map from DragOn, so he's going to check out that 3rd base really quickly and see where that is.
What happened there, I think Drag got a little bit desperate. You can see this gateway is still extremely healthy, has almost half of its shield, a little bit more actually, and he wanted to break out to stop the Lings from attacking before the 3rd Zealot was out. But had he just waited for that 3rd Zealot to finish, he would have been able to do that while plugging his wall at the same time.
Yeah, his 1 Zealot could have gotten out there and baited the Lings, done some damage. But man, this is a lot of early damage here from cRoSs. He's gotten a good number of probe kills here so far. Luckily, though, you know, DragOn has been able to essentially deny too much of the Zergling damage here. We haven't seen too many probe pools. That's probably, I think, the second one that we've seen that's going to delay a significant portion of mining. And cRoSs is just being very productive with these Zerglings and staying on keeping them alive for as long as possible. In the meantime, you have DragOn moving out in the middle of the map with 4 Zealots here. It looks like cRoSs is prepared for this. We have an additional 4 Zerglings popping as well here. So 12 is going to be more than enough to deal with these 4 Zerglings in the 3rd base here.
4 Zealots, yeah. But if Drag can get to this ramp with this probe as acting as support, it can be a little bit difficult for cRoSs to get here. He's going to force cRoSs to fight at the ramp with some of these ults, or maybe he just goes right in, gets on top of this hatchery.
Alrighty, so cRoSs in the meantime has thrown away the Zerglings in the main, knowing that he's not going to be able to micro them during this fight effectively, as his Zergling micro is going to be very important here. But he does have more than enough, I think, of Zerglings to defend this, as long as DragOn doesn't continue to pull him into that little wall area where he can fight them more efficiently here. But yep, we have
the drone, very nice, and now he's trying to get as much value from these zealots as possible, positioning them behind the middle line.
Yeah, that was pretty spectacular positioning too.
Yeah, he kept a couple extra Lings with that, and now we still do have DragOn a little bit of trouble. You can see he's trying to get as much done with these zealots because his tech is so far behind. He is also confirming that cRoSs is going 4 hatch with this, seeing that 4th hatch being thrown down already. Lots of Lings being produced. At least he knows it's not 3 hatch Hydra. Probably suspects that it's not a lair build.
Pretty relentless aggression here from DragOn overall is actually, you know, I don't know how this is working out so far. We've seen very little in the way of drone kills, very little in the way of even denied mining time for the most part. cRoSs has been responding to this very, very well. And as you can see, cRoSs is essentially caught up in the worker count during all this. And unfortunately, that is not going to be good news for DragOn.
I think it's the kind of play DragOn needed, though, because otherwise cRoSs just ends up droning up that entire time. We have DragOn at least skipping the Stargate upon seeing that cRoSs was going for a 5 hatch build, knowing that there's not going to be a threat of mutas. So skipping that Stargate, even though that Corsair can probably net you 1 Overlord kill, it's not that valuable. And you can get your tech a lot faster. We have Drag throwing down the 2nd gas already. Likely going to see speed and then in archives instantly just to get those Templars and Storm a lot faster. cRoSs meanwhile getting Hydra speed. Nope, not quite yet. You can see his economy is booming because he's floating minerals at this point. He's a little bit supply blocked here, but lots of larva floating. But once he spends all this, he's probably waiting to confirm. And looks like, yep, he made a round of drones. So he's going to have even more drones now. Still seems like he forgot to do something with his Hydra, and nothing's being upgraded quite yet. We have a 6 hatch
layer and 6 down. Yep. So maybe we see cRoSs go for like a, let's see, what do we have upgrading? We don't have any. Do we not have any upgrades? We have Carapace? No, we don't even have an Evo. It doesn't look like. So maybe we're going to see cRoSs go for a more passive style here with like a lean lurker.
I think he's going to go Muta upon seeing no Stargate from DragOn. We have another Ling run by coming into the main. How did these Lings get here? I didn't even see this.
They just weaseled their way through the front wall.
And very annoying from cRoSs with these Lings, even if they don't get anything killed. just forcing probe pulls. It's very annoying. We have cRoSs making sunken, so it looks like nope, this Hydra Giant was not going to make any Hydras, which is good because he's just going to go straight into lair, get mutas, and with no anti-air, the mutas will give cRoSs map control and time to make even more drones and then eventually switch into Hydras. So good game plan from cRoSs. Here comes the first Zealot. Here comes the first Zealot. Move out speed is done. +1 is almost complete. This is a ton of Zealots. We have 2 Sunkens at the third, 2 at the net. We have Sim City, and we just need a few more Lings to buffer. We have a wraparound with these 12 Lings. Not sure if this was going to go counter or what.
The SimCity looks absolutely spectacular from cRoSs, though, and cRoSs is even doing a really nice job here, trying to trap as many of these Zealots while they're heading their way over to the base here and getting some efficient trades here. This looks like it's going to do okay. Unfortunately, that +1 just makes these Zerglings a lot weaker versus the Zealots here. But already we see that it looks like, you know, DragOn has said, okay, it's time to back off here from this third because that is way too well protected. Unfortunately for him, the natural is pretty well protected as well. The SimCity not quite as nice, unfortunately, just because it's not that possible to get a as nice a one. But there's so many Lings on the field here, and cRoSs is just going to be doing a fantastic job here defending this. Essentially, no damage been taken here at all. And it looks like we are actually potentially heading towards Hydralisk because we do have Hydralisk speed on the map, or on the way here.
Yeah, but of course this is a muta opening, so Drag realizes after seeing only Lings and this many Sunkens, the mutas are out. He confirms with this Zealot. But he had already prepared. You can see second and third cannons going down in the middle lines. He's getting a Dark Archon as well. Let's see what the Archives is upgrading. Looks like nothing yet. Of course, you don't need Maelstrom instantly. You can get it after the Dark Archon is morphed, and you'll have 100 energy around the time that the upgrade finishes. DragOn adding gateways now. We're up to 4, 5, and soon to be 6. And with these 3 cannons, we can hold off 8 mutas, no problem. But more mutas being rallied in. Maybe DragOn did not expect this. Do we have Storm? I think we already have Storm being researched, but these are High Templars that are undefended and very exposed.
No. And DragOn with the instantly 3 used Storms here, really trying to catch those mutas off guard. Does a very nice pattern, but unfortunately mutas just dodge out of all of them. We have 3 High Templar now gone down so far, 2 being additional ones being put into a Archon here on the ramp as well. So this has been about as productive as you could hope these initial mutas going to be. They're looking really, really good. Oh, that was so scary, them flying over this Archon over and over again. But man, this is really big. We're completely denying mining here at the main base. As you can already see, we have cRoSs up both in supply and in workers. So this is pretty much every advantage that he could possibly have here. As his tech is coming on the way as well. We do have Hydralisk now getting their +1 range. We have all of the basic upgrades that you're going to be wanting for a Hydralisk mid game, and getting 5. That's count them 5 Templar taken out just by this initial muta harass is massive.
Yeah, we have a lot more High Templars being made, but DragOn's attack has been slowed down significantly. So has to be careful about these High Templars, but of course he does have the Dark Archon, and this Dark Archon will provide a ton of safety for these High Templars. cRoSs, of course, could play off his mutas, use 5 at a time, trying to bait those Maelstroms, but the Dark Archon energy is building up. He's going to have 2 Maelstroms pretty soon. DragOn looks like he's ready for an attack. He's getting his Robo, his Dragon range. cRoSs, of course, had he gone Lurkers, he would be even in a better position considering DragOn's tech has been so delayed.
Even still, though, he's got 6 hatch Hydralisk production here. He's cut down significantly on the number of storms here. We still have the mutas alive as well. So hopefully, with a decent production, cRoSs should be able to, continue to fight this army. We do have a lot of floating larvae here with the army coming across the way. So it is kind of interesting here. But cRoSs does morph at the very last moment here. Hopefully that's enough, because we don't have a significant mass of units right now on the field here. And without that mass, it can be very difficult to fight against this big Protoss army.
A big mistake from cRoSs there. He sent all the mutas to counter the main, but DragOn already had 3 cannons, and the difference here was those mutas were already damaged from the earlier storms. He really needed the mutas in this fight to at least pick off trail High Templars or buy time, so the army is occupied. He does get caught a little bit off guard. Maelstrom on the Hydras, and then a Storm kills off a lot of them, and now we have decent upgrades on this Protoss army as well. We already have 1 armor, making these Zealots a lot beefier. Another huge Storm. Now Dragon's going to come on this high ground. Does he have any Storms left? Looks like that High Templar had 70 energy, and we have 1 Storm left on this one. 4th is cancelled. Another High Templar gets picked off.
Ooh, and 2 Hydralisks. That is a big mistake there. That was one of the most important spells that he had in the tank at this point, because it's just his Zealots on the field essentially now. And with that, Dragon is going to have to back off, getting no real significant damage done. Of course, he did force, cRoSs to make army, and he did cancel that 4th for the time being, but that is not enough damage, I don't think. So Dragon is going to be transitioned to a 3rd now, and he's going to need to stay back and try and defend this for quite a while. And I don't know if the opportunity is going to come again for such a productive attack.
Alright, still having this Dark Archon. I feel like cRoSs had an opportunity to pick that off. This Dark Archon is going to provide more value the longer this game goes on, if it stays alive like this. Every time it gets 100 energy, that's a free Maelstrom. The Dragon going up in the gateway count, finally mixing in some observers. Still no Dragoons, realizing you don't need a large Dragoon mass to face off a mostly Hydra army. cRoSs Lurker is now started, and another attack where Drag gets to the 4th base as cRoSs is out of position. I feel like Drag is taking advantage of the fact that cRoSs' vision is limited at this point. We have Overlords finally spreading out on Dragon's side of the map. cRoSs keeps getting caught off guard by these attacks.
3rd base does get spotted now for Dragon. Of course, there isn't too much that cRoSs can do about it at this point. It's a pretty well defendable 3rd base, very small ramp and everything like that. cRoSs does have Overlord speed done already, of course, very important, but Overlord's drop can be a very good tool at breaking those 3rd bases. But as it is right now, he has to just try and get his 4th up. It is a little bit delayed in comparison to how fast Dragon has gotten his 3rd up. But it looks like cRoSs is cutting off the main army right now with a nice Lurker positioning here. Has his main army here at the 3rd base, and now Dragon is stuck outside of his 3rd up the ramp here, not going to be able to bust this without significant losses due to the Lurker splash.
We do have 5 cannons here and a Storm. Not that many Lurkers, so Dragon is moving forward with his army, getting good Storms on these Hydras.
Yeah, it looks like that top portion of the army has just gotten absolutely destroyed. I'm very curious as to why we didn't have a snipe on any of the obs here. There was only 2 and plenty of Hydralisks to go ahead and deal with that. But it looks like the large mass of Zealots here have been picked off. Now, that isn't the most important portion of the army. Of course, the High Templar and the Dark Templar are really what you want to conserve out of all of that. So it is very nice that we're able to save all these big energy or big gas units for the next fight. But of course, having to force those High Templars is a little unfortunate, as they're not amazing in this portion of the game right now. They will end up being a lot more valuable later on.
Alright, after taking a decent fight, Drag just expanding again, not concerned too much. He is moving forward with a mostly Dragoon army. He really needs to wait for the rest to come here and support. We have the Zealots and High Templars reinforcing this, and again, cRoSs getting caught out of position, leaving his 4th exposed, having his units in the middle of the map, nowhere near his 4th base, as Dragon takes the high ground. It's like cRoSs is just going to opt for a counter.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea overall. Of course, High Templar on top of a high ground with cannons is a pretty difficult army to crack. Just even one can be good enough sometimes to hold off a gigantic army here. We do have a nice little wraparound once again, and because we don't have a very large mass here of High Templar, and it's mostly Dragoon and these 2 Archons, this shouldn't get cleaned up very easily by this amount of Hydralisks.
Good Storms from Dragon again. Now we have the Zealots coming in for the flank. And now, just barely, I think Drag is going to hold this with the Hydra shooting the Zealots so Dragoons can stay alive and deal a ton of damage to them. Now, cRoSs can get here from the other side. These Lurkers are in position to cut off. The reinforcements get a couple of spines on the High Templars, but all the Lurkers get cleaned up, and now we only have a few Hydras left over.
Yeah, this is actually kind of ponderous, as you know, the production from the Zerg should be just insane, right? But we do have the Protoss just really able to outpower cRoSs's reinforcement waves, which to me is quite surprising at this point. cRoSs is on, only 4 bases here, so that is a bit problematic at this point in the game. But even still, like, he's got such a massive worker count here and a good, decent number of hatcheries as well. It's very confusing to me why, cRoSs is still losing these fights after the initial engagement.
It looks like Drag leaving his 4th base just as cRoSs arrives. We might get a Nexus pickoff here.
Alright, well here comes Dragon's army once again, and the Storms have just been incredible this game. cRoSs has done a reasonable job trying to dodge the Storms as well, but the placement has just been fantastic. Getting massive chunks of Hydras, look at that, just huge damage with the initial ticks. Oh my gosh, cRoSs is just... just dodging Storms left and right here, and we're just getting way too much damage done by these high Templars.
Yeah, Master Storms, and I like the instant Archon morph once the Storms are used up. These Archons will provide a lot of value, even if they don't finish. Just being able to take damage as they're being morphed provides the rest of your army some... Or actually, never mind, we have Dragon coming in with High Templars, trying to reinforce this position, but... Looks like they get caught. Now we have cRoSs coming in with more Lurkers, more Hydras, more High Templars. I mean, more Lurkers and Hydras. And having these Lurkers positioned here means it's going to be harder for Dragon to reinforce this new 4th base. And even though...
Whoa! Really?
Well, if you look at the replay, like if you rewind a little bit, you can see the Drag is actually mined out from his main and net, so he's only going to be on 1 base. And after having lost his army again, cRoSs has full map control. He's actually getting Hive. He can take his 5th at any point, and it's just over.
Alrighty, yeah. I mean, I guess that's definitely the case. He was going to lose the 4th there. I guess I didn't look at the main and natural to see how mined out they were, because it almost felt like that whole time Dragon was doing pretty decent, and cRoSs was only on 4 bases, but he doesn't mine out quite as fast as a Protoss player normally does. So I guess that's just how it goes sometimes, man.
It looked for a moment like he was there, able to come back. He killed cRoSs's 4th 3 times, but like you said, cRoSs always had a very large and healthy drone count, and just couldn't hold on to his 4th base.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break here before we go into the next game. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead. If I could implore you all to take a gander at our Matcherino page. There we go. That's the Matcherino page there in the chat. I believe the code is still NASL3. That is NASL3, as I've typed it in the chat there. There is also, of course, the ability to do a survey real quick, and that donates $2 entire dollars. $2 for a survey. If you guys want to go ahead and do that, that would be spectacular. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to the TDR wrap real quick, and we'll take about a 5-minute break here so I can get a drink of water and all that. We'll be back in just a moment, guys. Please stick around. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back. My name is Doug Holiday, and of course joining me is cRoSs for the cast today.
Hello, everyone. So we're up to Game 4, and surprisingly, I would say cRoSs has won the first 3.
Yeah, so this is where it gets pretty intense.
We've seen in game plan against or around Drag, we saw that response to the 1 gate, that fast ling attack. Then we had mass ling into Muta. Game 2, and then Game 3 just got those lings in, built an advantage from it, and won in the mid game.
So this continues to just be a worse and worse spot for Dragon here. This is very, very difficult at this point to make a comeback here. There's just so many things that can go wrong. cRoSs has all the options available to him now. He can go for a 4-pull if he wants to. Everything is on the table now. And cRoSs has plenty of wiggle room to try and experiment to get these last 2 games here. So we're going to be heading over to Sylphid. This is game number 4. Here we go.
All right, let's make sure the overlay is showing the game or the replay. Earlier, let's introduce the players. We have Drag as this color I don't recognize.
Yeah, like steel blue, or I don't know.
The titanium blue at the 12 o'clock spawn.
Alrighty,
and the map is Sylphid.
Bottom right-hand corner, we do have cRoSs now spawning as the red Zerg here. And this is a pretty decent map for Zerg, I'd have to say. It's definitely, you know, when you get in these positions where you take the natural as your third, and then you have the main for the fourth, there is a large portion of the map belonging to you. And just a, I don't know, pretty tough map overall for Protoss, I think. Not the least, not the most imbalanced for sure. I believe the win rates are still pretty even, but just generally strategically, there's a lot going on here that Zerg can go ahead and abuse.
Right, cRoSs looks like he's hiding his Overlord Scout, and Drag is actually, this probe is way too aggressively going to the right side of the map. Not going to see the Overlord, and now he's probably going to scout to the wrong base, so he's actually missing this Overlord Scout from cRoSs with his Overlord positioning, hugging or staying close to the right side of the map to avoid this very probe scout. Good play from cRoSs. We saw him do this against Boa as well, so Drag must have not seen that replay. He's falling for the same thing as Boa. Now we have an overpull from cRoSs, so he's playing standard, of course. I wonder if this is a game to mix in a 4 or 5 pool, right? You're already ahead 3-0. And if you're going to do an Overlord Scout like this to trick Protoss, you can mix in that 4 pool. But it looks like cRoSs is just confident, just going to play his normal style. Drag gets to the other base, sees, unfortunately, nope, there's nothing there. I've been duped. Overlord's about to come to Drag's Nat. And cRoSs is going to take his Nat unopposed.
Yeah, pretty nice here. Likely only going to see 2 Zerglings. He seems to like to be able to deal with the probes with only one pair of Zerglings, get that additional drone nice and quickly. And that looks to be the case here, getting the drones going right away. Especially after getting the scout, seeing that he has forced the cannon just due to the build order here, and not going to need to do anything else.
Yeah, pretty good forcing cannon before Nexus. No, Drag.
What is
It's not
going
the end
on?
of the world, it's just a little slight advantage. Or when you're down 3, when you're up 3-0 to get a slight advantage. I mean, Drag is probably already a little bit salty. Just got to focus in this position. Anything can end your tournament run. It would be very unfortunate for this to be a 4-0 sweep. Probe is being kept alive much better this game. We can see only, actually no shield hasn't even been taken off. We see the gas timing. We see we have to keep this probe alive as long as possible, of course. We want to see if cRoSs goes for lair. Last thing you do is want to lose to something as simple as 3-hatch Hydra. cRoSs opting for the 7 o'clock third base. Of course, this is much better than either the mineral only or the green base towards the middle. Has an extra mineral patch compared to the mineral only, and of course a gas. It's like we have the cybernetics core, and this time we have the lair at the nap from cRoSs. Something he could have opted to do on match point. But Drag should know this is up. If he's in the main and he sees at this time no lair, no Hydra Den, he should know to check the Nat.
I think Dragon feels pretty safe in that it's going to be just a layer here. That's just my guess. But cRoSs really hasn't shown a propensity for going for the 3-hatch Hydra, like pretty much at all this whole tournament here. We've seen very few, as a matter of fact, just in general. Something that is pretty unexpected overall. People seem to be playing a lot more of a standard build lately. So I guess that we're just going to be making those assumptions.
You know, Drag actually going for Citadel, but he's not getting +1. So this isn't going to be a speed lot timing. It's going to be a fast archives build. We have +1 started now. But if you start +1 at the same time as speed, +1 finishes a lot quicker. I don't think that's the kind of build Drag is going to opt for. And with this fast second gas, before second gateway even, I can sense that an archive is going to be thrown down. You have a probe getting set up for that. We'll likely see a second gateway now. We have the probe actually still alive, going to check where the third is, and Drag out all the information he needed. We have the Spire on the way. cRoSs, where's his Overlord? Looks like the Overlord never actually went into the main, so I wonder if he can get a good read on what Drag is doing. We have a third and fourth gateway gonna go up. We have a second gateway after that. And here's the third and fourth. So we're probably gonna see Archons being made. Unfortunately, we got one of those out cut off. Wasn't unable to return back to the wall, and it gets killed. DT being produced. This is a really fast DT. Fourth and fifth hatch from cRoSs, Hydra Den, and he's getting Hydra upgrades, so he's not suspecting this at all. Otherwise, he'd be going for mutas here. Still no evolution chamber, so interesting. We have a couple Scourge being made, so this is why I'm saying he's not expecting this to be a Citadel first build. He saw a late +1. Well, the +1 was sort of timed so that you'd get it at the same time you would if you were going Stargate. That's only because he delayed it to get that fast Citadel and fast Archives. So these two Scourge that are going to be scouting now, I'm going to let him know that Drag actually opted to never get the Stargate, so he made these two useless Scourge, and now these Hydra upgrades that he's getting is going to mean he can't get any mutas.
Alrighty, well, Dark Templar arriving just to find a nice little block of Hydralisk on the ramp here. But yeah, this is going to be pretty unfortunate, as you know. Hydra's not so good against High Templar without any kind of support whatsoever.
And we have the DT rerouting to the net, but again, Hydra's already out. Alright, so this build that DragOn is doing, he's going to go for a 2 Archon speed lot attack, and he's going to rally Zealots. So let's see if cRoSs suspects this at all. He looks like he's going to be aggressive with his Hydra, so no. Against this, you do really need to be prepared. You need to be behind your SimCity. You need Sunkens. And here comes... So these Zealots are going to have speed and +1 finish at the same time. And we're moving out now. These Archons provide a ton of damage to this army, forcing cRoSs to retreat. We have DragOn going up in gateways as he's making more Zealots. These Zealots are going to be rallied to the front.
Alrighty. Well, the SimCity is good, but as you said, no Sunkens or anything like that here in order to help this. At the top of the ramp here at the third, this is going to be even more of a fatal situation here. We've got a whole 3 Hydralisks at the top of the ramp. Here comes another one, maybe one more or 2 more before the army arrives. But
DragOn is actually backing off. He's waiting for a couple more Zealots, but I feel like he's missing his window.
Yeah, a little indecisive here.
So we still have these 2 fully healthy Archons and a bunch of Zealots to support. DragOn is actually making High Templars now, and that means there's not going to be any more reinforcements to this army. It's like the Hydralisks are getting... Okay, look, he targets one of the Archons to take it out instantly. Now, these are very low health Hydras, and he's being forced to pull back. I feel like that trade was about even. Looked like DragOn missed his window to hit cRoSs' third.
Yeah. That was a little strange, man. The indecisiveness for DragOn really cost him the ability to do a ton of damage here. Of course, he's obviously not out of this game. This wasn't like an all-in, like, gotta bust or lose here situation. But, man, he could have potentially just won the game right off the back of that attack.
Alright, cRoSs taking a 4th base, and he drones up. Of course, every time you kill a Protoss army, you have a window to drone. And cRoSs taking advantage of it. Get some drones in. He's probably going to want to drone again to saturate this 4th base once it's almost done. It's like +2 is on the way, and he's also... Actually, it's +1 only, so +1's a little bit delayed. Looks like DragOn is getting +1 armor. And now he's going to attack again, and this time it's going to be with a primarily High Templar army, no Archons. Looks like cRoSs is not having any mutas in production. This kind of attack is extremely exposed to mutas, so if cRoSs, upon seeing this was not going to be a Stargate build, had decided to switch into mutas here, DragOn would be in big trouble. DragOn has a lot of storms, but this is a very exposed High Templar army. No Dragoons to support, so he has to be very careful how he moves across the map.
Oh my god.
It's like 1 HP High Templar. We did trade off 6 Hydras to do this. Right, the closer we get to the cRoSs side of the map, the more dangerous these High Templars become.
Yeah, this is a pretty massive army here too. We still haven't reinforced the natural at all with any kind of Sunkens here. The Zealots just by themselves are very threatening at this point. And when they do this and they get on top of your Hydras, you can't retreat. And there's just a big storm, man. That is so difficult to overcome. Zealots just running in here now. We're just storming all the drones at the natural. cRoSs really getting caught off guard by this build order here. The response was not very good at all, and unfortunately that is going to spell his first loss in this final series here.
Yeah, not able to pick off any of those high temp bars before they got to his base was key. Good storms from DragOn too, and very good macro, just had too much. I feel like even without storms, he just had a ton of Zealots. And cRoSs never making mutas to take advantage of the fact that Drag didn't have any anti-air. That's a big oversight from his response to Drag's build. Yes, that was 1-1. Don't know if one armor was done for DragOn, but cRoSs +1 was very late. It wasn't done for that fight either.
Alrighty, guys. Is this the beginning of a major comeback for DragOn? I sure hope so. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing this series end pretty quickly here. Now, DragOn seems to be catching a stride a little bit. A pretty flawless game that was there on Sylphin. So hopefully we see him come back a little bit here. We're going to be going on into the next game right away. This is going to be on Fighting Spirit. Now in the top right-hand corner, spawning as the Teal Zerg this time, we have cRoSs up 3-1 in the series so far.
Alright, the map is actually Polypoid. Looks very similar to here, though. And in the top left corner, as a white Protoss, we have DragOn.
Dude, I always get baited by Polypoid.
Alright, so cRoSs is going to get that Overlord Scout correct. And let's see if DragOn goes for the Probe Scout where he can see if the Overlord is coming. He already got bit by that in game number 3. DragOn sending out that probe instantly after a pylon, so it looks like this is gonna be a Forge Expand.
And to address the chat...
Overlord.
Oh,
what
sorry.
happened?
No, I was just going to say, to address the chat, there is a large group of folks still in NAS, guys. There's actually an in-house tournament running right now that you can catch, I believe, on Twitch. I don't remember which channel it is, but it's called NAS Tier. So there is a lot of stuff going on with NAS as well.
Yeah, they just came back. The NAS Tier tournament was like the first event for a lot of the new and already established or coming back NAS members. It's like Drag with the Forge, and he's gonna double scout. So NAS is back, yes. We have cRoSs with the overpool. Looks like he's gonna be able to get his probe, his Nat, unharassed. Drag gonna last scout cRoSs, but with the 2 probes, he can confirm what build he's doing. And now you can't go with the double probe scout. You can't go Nexus first against overpool because you've wasted a lot of mineral or potential minerals by scouting with 2 probes. So you just go cannon and then next as a response. You know, the first probe coming back to DragOn's main, and he's going to see how many lings are made. He's only 2 lings and drones pop. Gonna next check the gas timing. You know, DragOn making it 1 more probe, and now he's going to get his Nexus down on 15. It looks like we're just going to go into a normal game. No more 1K, no more funny business in the early game. Hopefully we get to see an actual macro game. Every game I feel like has ended either in the beginning or has had one player disadvantage from the get-go.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Last game, of course, cRoSs was at the informational disadvantage, despite the no major damage actually being done.
Looks like this is a nice wall from DragOn, only 2 gaps. Here we have the same moment again. Let's look at the probe health. Very healthy. DragOn has shown that he's very good at keeping this probe alive. course, this is one of the most important parts of early game PvZ, how well you can do your build while keeping this probe alive. Once this probe is no longer scouting, you'll see Protoss APM plummet by like 100. Alright, does he get vision of the Nat? I think he just went far enough to see if the Nat was morphing and he saw the lair. Of course, you can't just leave. You want to stay a little bit longer because they could just cancel that Nat, the Nat lair and then throw down a Hydra then. But Drag staying on just long enough. cRoSs getting speed after lair. Both are playing normal. There's the cybernetics core about to be done.
In the meantime, this is of course the map with the Curse to Ursidon, also known as the Cursidon here, that can potentially, you know, stop your third from going down for absolutely no reason. Why? Why? Is what the question that we've been asking all tournament long. Nobody knows, but I feel like someone should just hop in the map editor, take that Ursidon out, and we should just as a community start using the version without it, man.
Yeah, Polyploid version 2.1 or something.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like, this guy is, like, just super annoying and stupid.
Okay, we have DragOn mixing it up again, so you got a fast second gas, and it looks like he might be doing the same build, because we have a Citadel, then we have +1. See if we get in Archives instantly. Looks very similar to Game 1 build from DragOn. We have cRoSs this time getting inspired. The difference here is cRoSs is going to get a full scout on what DragOn is doing. Let's see how this affects his response.
Yeah. It was really unfortunate that he decided not to send that Overlord into the main base to get the full scout. And that really just spelled, you know, the big difference between whether or not he was going to be able to deal with the attack.
Alright, looks like we have the 4th hatch from cRoSs. Spire's about halfway done. 5th hatch going down at the 3rd base. And looks like this is the exact same build. DragOn is going to get 1 DT. Then he's going to throw down. We have a 2nd gateway already at the net. We should see a couple more gateways added soon. Here they go in the main. Very curiously placed gateways. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Here's the 1DT being produced. And this is the exact same build from DragOn. I guess he liked cRoSs' response, or maybe he felt cRoSs was unprepared against a build like this. But nope, looks like cRoSs is adjusting his response. He's getting mutas. No Hydra Den this time. Getting a 2nd gas.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. I think DragOn may be a little overconfident in the way that this build order is going to play out, because I don't know if he realized that cRoSs didn't get the scout at all. And so he may find that this is going to go much, much differently. He's going to find his High Templar getting sniped out, of course. We're going to have mutas kiting the Zealots as they come across, with the initial Archons being fairly useless, I think, if the micro is good.
Alright, here's the first DT. cRoSs has a second just in time. Of course, don't want to let this DT get into the main. That would be catastrophic, but it's actually going to get into the net mineral line. It's 1 drone, 2 drones, or was it just 1?
Oof, I don't know. We need that counter, man. That StarCraft 2 counter where every time a worker dies, it starts like a little ticker.
Here you go, DragOn finally adding more cannons. He has 2 in the main, 2 at the net. He did scout that there was at least no Hydra Den here. Don't know if he got into the position to see a 2nd gas, but cRoSs is just droning up, making mutas. And here comes the attack from DragOn. We have a 2nd Archon being morphed, and we have more Zealots being produced off of 4 gateways. So he's going to line up his speed in +1, and then attack. So pretty much identical build to the one last game. Only difference here is cRoSs went for mutas instead of Hydras first.
Alright, and there goes that +1 just finishing up now. Of course, we can micro these mutas fairly well versus this army, so long as it kind of strings out like they tend to do in this game. So muta is going to be very useful in kind of chipping down the army, and then of course we're going to have the Sunkens helping with the defense. So we have a very focused defense here, actually, at the natural expansion. But the 3rd being so far off is a little bit more exposed. Of course, the looks like we are continuing to add on defenses as the attack moves over, and that's going to be pretty much all you need to deny this. The SimCity once again at the 3rd base here is going to be very good as well. Muta's coming into the main here, going to be trying to focus down these cannons. I think this is going to work out pretty well. We have a 4th cannon going up, but that is going to take quite a long time, and cannons die very quickly while they're still morphing.
So we actually have 9 mutas left over from this attack. 1 cannon being morphed, but it's about halfway done. But in the meantime, Drag is attacking cRoSs's third. This third Sunken isn't quite done. The Zealots are getting on top of the Sunkens without any links to support. Sunkens alone don't have enough damage. We do target the Archon, and now we have 9 Zealots left over. But Drag has 9 mutas in his main, so it looks like sort of a base trade scenario. cRoSs probably needed a couple mutas at least to help from this Zealot attack. But I feel like trading your main for a Zerg's third, I actually don't know who comes out ahead because there's a lot of production here from cRoSs. 3 hatcheries worth. And now we have Drag with an Archon. But one Archon can be microed around. cRoSs looks like he's gonna retreat, but these mutas aren't gonna be able to save this base.
Yeah, well, we are on even worker counts. Of course, one of the big things that's you know, that changes here is that, of course, we got a good number of probes in the mineral line, but the Nexus that still stands, and so we're going to have DragOn really climbing back up in the worker count very quickly. Losing these 3 hatcheries here, especially after such an invested defense here of 5 total Sunkens, is pretty difficult to of a loss there. The Muta is going to be able to continue to do harassment. Oh, ooh. Looks like doing spectacular harassment actually in the main. So things looking very good here as far as cRoSs's recovery attempt goes.
Oh, that Archon shot was huge, and we have another Archon that doesn't get any attacks.
Dude, cRoSs is so bald. Look at the attack that's going on here. He's got 4 HP on like all of his mutas here. They're still just flying around doing damage, man. Oh my god.
Has to be very careful here.
Oh.
One Archon shot will kill all of these mutas. Managed to get another couple probes, forces out a storm, and gets the only High Templar out on the map. But again, cRoSs has no other production from these 3 hatches. He lost half of his production, losing his third base. So he has to be very careful with these low HP mutas if he's massing mutas like this.
Alright, massive attack coming here to the natural expansion. And unfortunately for DragOn, his Zealots are across the map trying to stop a third that wasn't even being produced here. So tons of Zerglings now in the natural expansion, once again raiding the probe line here of DragOn. The Zerglings do their job in killing off all of the cannons, and they're looking to head into the main. Looks like we have 4 cannons in the main mineral line here.
Yeah, but this Zergling Muta counterattack opened up the harass potential for cRoSs. Now with no cannons at the net, Archons are of course very good against mutas. It's like cRoSs's making way too many lings. These lings aren't gonna be very effective at all. But having killed all the cannons, look, we have another. Okay, mutas almost get another High Templar. cRoSs should really be focusing here at the net. Looks like he's gonna reroute his mutas to just head there, knowing without cannons, Archons are very clunky units. And trying to get behind the middle line is very awkward for them.
And then getting back out is even more. Like, it's like, oh my gosh. Look at this. We were at even worker count. Now cRoSs up 6 workers. He's got 4th in the bottom right-hand corner. That is just finished up, I believe. Yep. So things starting to really look pretty good for cRoSs. If you can continue this Muta harass and still be productive, we can keep cutting down the number of workers here. The only thing that he has to really worry about is a big attack, because as you can see, DragOn does have a decent number of units on the field here.
cRoSs going for Hydras to follow us up. I feel like this is a curious decision. When you only have 3 hatcheries, you don't have a ton of production. I feel like going Lurker to give him some time to establish his production would be a better choice here, knowing that DragOn's economy has been ravaged. DragOn's tech has been laid. Lurkers would be very good in this position.
Oh my gosh, cRoSs taking a big storm for 1 probe, but continuing to harass the gas workers is really nice. I mean, High Templars are one of the most efficient low mineral units. You can make, essentially infinite Archons off 2 bases, so long as you've got the gas income coming. Also, doing that is really nice.
At the bottom left, I don't know why they went all the way into the main. It's got both corners, but we have one Zealot go to bottom right scout that there were units here, so he should suspect that DragOn has that cRoSs has taken this base as his third.
Look at all these cotton balls, though, getting all piled up here. As I said, man, so many Archons right now. What are these Hydralisks doing? Very strange army movement.
We're going to be able to accomplish much. Here we do have a good engagement from cRoSs getting.
Oh, the Lings though!
Lings going in the back, but they get not much done, but the Hydras are targeting the Archons. We did lose 3 Archons there, and we have the Mutas coming in, picking off another High Templar.
Yeah, this is just really rough. I mean, DragOn is still continuing to probe up. You know, he's doing his best. He certainly has caught up quite a bit since it's, since the initial Mutalisk harassment there. Things looking pretty okay for the recovery so far. I've got to say, I'm very impressed with how DragOn has been handling this so far.
DragOn still making probes. I mean, it's 15 minutes, and we're still making probes as Protoss on 2 base. That's the kind of economy we're working on. cRoSs hasn't been able to drone up during this time. He's just been focusing on making Hydras. We're on 4 hatcheries. We're getting +1, so we're kind of stuck in the mid game, but just with worse economy for both players. DragOn's moving out with like paltry armies. We have 1 Muta being microed against the High Templars.
1 Muta.
Alright, DragOn finally has the economy to add a couple more gateways. He's still producing probes, trying to recover. You can see his Nat mineral line only has 8 probes on minerals, making a ton of High Templars. Still don't have a robo, so like I said, if cRoSs had ever gone for lurkers, DragOn would be pinned in this position.
Alright, cRoSs has replenished his Muta numbers just to enough to be able to 2-shot the High Templar with good micro. Oh, well, the rally's just floating over the Archons. Oh, 1 more shot. There you go. Oh. Blade bounces have softened up some of these guys. And we're continuing to force Archon production instead of allowing these High Templars to stack up energy, so this is really nice.
Yeah, the one thing I'm worried about cRoSs, he's still only on 4 hatcheries and he hasn't made any more drones, so his economy is quite a bit weaker than even Drag's at this point. Drag has been able to keep up his pro production, and even though we're getting a ton of High Templars, look at Drag, he just made pure High Templars, has more on the way as well. This is a ridiculous number of High Templars. Drag is even feeling safe to take a 3rd here without Robotech, without any Dragoons. I mean, cRoSs, I think, after killing that many High Templars and forcing this many Archons, felt like he had a window here to attack while DragOn was low on Storm, but it turns out DragOn is never low on Storms.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. He's like, alright, I killed all of the High Templar with our army. Like, literally all of them. And then, he shows up finally with the Hydralisk army, and there's like 5 more. It still looks like potentially enough Hydralisks, though, to crack this. The reinforcement waves are showing up, and the storms are not great. Ooh, I think he's done it.
We have 1 DT. Do we have an Overlord anywhere in sight?
They're coming. they're just real slow. Ooh, the Archon gets popped. That's pretty significant. Alright, Overlord buddy is coming. It's almost there. Just keep going. We have the turnaround. Oh my god, he makes it out. Alright.
I think Drag has bought enough production from gateways to kick in, and he should be able to defend this 3rd base, although cRoSs is targeting it. Nexus is about to out.
It's gonna go down, dude! Are you serious?
Kill that. He is gonna get 1 High Templar on his retreat, maybe a 2nd one.
Oh, get him!
4 HP
get
High
him!
Templar.
Please!
Oh, and that didn't die is gonna change the game. We have no units at bottom right. Drag knows that it's there. Why isn't he going there? Look at this DT. Only drones at bottom right.
Oh my god. Alright, the continued attack here at the 3rd. Looks like we have no more storms. Only 1 cannon has formed so far. We have an Archon morphing. Just focus the... Yeah, there you go.
Alright, so Dragon's 3rd does go down. You have the DT again, still alive on the map.
The snipe on this third is super significant here. As you can see, the natural is getting very low.
Alright, DT heading to bottom right. There's only one Hydralisk and only Jones. Let's see if cRoSs is a 10. Looks like the DT is hitting the hatchery. Never mind, this is going to get nothing done. Very unfortunate. I thought that DT was going to change the game.
Big storm, though. Alright, we're picking away at the front wall here. Looks like we really only have this one Templar that's about to have a storm.
I mean, we do have a lot of Zealots, and these are well upgraded Zealots. Only one weapon on these Hydras versus 2-1 Zealots. cRoSs being forced to pull back here. Of course, he did enough damage. He killed the third, and now DragOn is about to be on one base. Does have to be careful. I'm curious as to why still no lurkers at all. DragOn never actually made a robotics, so he's kind of banking on the fact that cRoSs was never going to lurker switch.
To be fair, that's a fairly safe bet when we're talking about cRoSs here.
Here we have a few more Hydras coming in from the back. It's like we're going to target High Templar, trying to get off. That one armor does actually make a huge difference.
Man, there's so many units here for DragOn, though. I'd be so surprised if he's not able to stabilize on this third base.
Yeah, and cRoSs' position is looking a little bit more all in now, that we never saturated this third. DragOn just barely having enough economy to set up this new base. Finally getting a robo. And actually, once we get control of this high ground, looks like a few more Hydras coming in from the back. Gonna pick off a couple High Templars. One High Templar goes down, the second High Templar goes down, and we force another storm. Drag still, of course, has even more storms in the bank. And where cRoSs has 5 Hydras, hatchery Hydra production now. But every time you trade Hydras for High Templars, when Drag can just rebuild those High Templars, I feel like he's slowly giving away his advantage.
Yeah, if this third base gets up, this is going to be like a whole new lease on life for DragOn.
Alright, cannon's finally being set up, and Drag, I feel like he shouldn't attack, he should just leave his army here. Knowing that one way to lose is just to keep this third from getting stabilized with cannons, with units. His main is about to be mined out. We only have 4 patches, very low. And his net is in the same situation. So these 6 mineral patches are going to be the only mining that Drag is going to have. It's like Drag is actually setting up to take another base. Of course, on cRoSs, you don't want to be pinned on one base. If you can get a 4th base established with this large army that gives you map control, you should go ahead and do that. cRoSs still no lurkers in sight. Looks like the only thing that's going to finish for him is +2, just finished now. Meanwhile, DragOn still has the upgrade advantage.
The one thing that is really playing a huge factor in this right now, I think, though, is that DragOn really doesn't know what's going on with cRoSs' economy. We've got the DT, you know, taken care of. Like, I don't think if he had looked at it, I think he would have sniped some drones. So I don't think that he saw the situation in bottom right-hand corner with just like the minimal number of drones. So I feel like DragOn might feel like he is under pressure to get an economy really, really established and to defend for super long instead of getting these bases established and then going for a nice attack. He may just not know that cRoSs is really in quite a desperate economic position right now.
Yeah, cRoSs is actually very all-in, but he has built up a large Hydralisk army. He did make a few more drone rounds. The problem with cRoSs' position is his Hydras are scattered. You can see he has one group of Hydras at the bottom, one in the middle, some at his rally, some coming from behind. He's going to need really good unit control to defend from this attack.
Oh man, this is such a weird position. The High Templar, though, in the back are getting sniped off.
cRoSs' army is being cut off here, and we have bottom right. We're going to have 6 Hydras pop with a couple of Hydras already there. Can hold the ramp for a little bit, but cRoSs fighting this army from the low ground. It's mostly Zealot Dragoon, no High Templars, but with good upgrades and the Zealots getting right on top of the Hydras, cRoSs is forced to retreat.
Okay, very important note. Lurker has finished here. So with some lurkers on the ramp, being morphed on the ramp, we could potentially stall for long enough to get lurkers on the high ground to defend against this. Now, do we have any High Templar? Still no High Templar with this army, so it's going to take quite a while to bust through this egg.
Actually, the leg was very low on health.
Oh no, yeah, he made it with a low health Hydra.
We have DragOn coming up the third ramp. Not that many Hydras left over. We have cRoSs's main army coming to attack. It's getting caught by DragOn's reinforcement, and cRoSs realizes DragOn just has too much in this position. And even if cRoSs holds, it's going to be 3 base versus 3 base. Now, cRoSs's third base is much better than Drag's, but being stuck on lair tech, you do need one of either great economy and production or an amazing unit control in small fights. But it's just too much, too little. Too much for Drag, too little for cRoSs in that position. Very smart and patient play from DragOn. Good comeback. Not only was he down in the series, he was also very much down in that game.
Alrighty, guys. Well, DragOn now finally put 2 games on the board here. He's still fighting for his life. One more game for cRoSs will end this series, but much better chances now. Looking very strong, looking like he's catching his stride. Will we have the reverse sweep? We'll have to see. Next map is going to be NASL3. Let's go. Alrighty, guys. In the top center of NASL3, we have the Teal Protoss this time. On quite the comeback so far. We got DragOn.
And in the bottom left, we have the Blue Zerg cRoSs. And we saw in that game, Drag was on his last legs. Basically, he had maybe a control group of probes. Muta's harassing his main. It looked like he had not much life left him in that game and the series, but he was able to pull it back, come back, and now he should be feeling pretty confident. Now, of course, we've already played all the maps in the ladder pool once, so now it's going to be loser's pick, and they can repeat maps. And it looks like cRoSs's choice was NASL3. He did lose on this map, but it looks like he feels comfortable in this matchup on this map.
Alright, and it looks like we are only going for a Forge opener once again. cRoSs in the meantime. Looks like an overpool.
Yeah, and the last time they played on this map, Drag went for that same build where he went for the Archon Zealot attack. Looks like Drag again going for the same probe scout. If cRoSs had been bottom right and had scouted the same way with the Overlord, the same way he's actually scouting now, you can see cRoSs sends the Overlord to that third high ground base away from the middle of the map to avoid the probe scout. We have the probe getting in now, and cRoSs is gonna realize what happened. I like cRoSs's pull positioning. You can see the top mineral is gonna be boosted now. The drone from that top patch bounces really fast from the hatchery, unlike the other drones. Just a little note, you can do this at whenever the mineral patch is positioned at that angle. Dragging the forge. He should be able to go 13 next, 13 forge. And here we go.
Looks like we're going for cannon first.
Yeah, cannon first. Interesting. I'm going to ask Drag why he did that. So if it does have a little bit shorter rush distances than most maps, but you can see Drag would have been able to make the Nexus and the cannon had he not made these 2 probes well in time ahead of these 2 lings. Looks like cRoSs's going to make 4 lings this game. He really wants to get that probe. Drag has been shown to be able to keep alive his probe against 2 lings indefinitely. So if you really want to kill that probe, you're going to have to commit a couple more, going up to 4.
This is interesting. I wonder what this means for cRoSs's build order. If he's got something a little less conventional plan here. Because he has been going for the 2 Zergling pretty much every time so far. We have gotten a lot of damage done to this probe so far. Only 2 shots will do it. Although the shields continue to regenerate. Now we're up to 3.
Right behind this, Drag is just getting his gas. Another pylon playing normal. Nothing strange can come from cRoSs. Maybe cRoSs just wants to kill the probe and then play standard. It's like a couple more shield has been regened. cRoSs only at 50 gas, so it's like and now DragOn is going to be in the dark.
And the probe goes down at the perfect time to create a lot of suspicion as to what's going down. Now, it looks like cRoSs going for the lair still, but this is just the worst timing to lose that probe for DragOn.
We have Drag transferring to his NAT, gets his cybernetics core up. It's like we're leaving the right amount of probes in the main, one per patch, and then transferring the rest. We have the 4 lanes at the front, and one are at cRoSs NAT, and one being sent to the front. Of course, you want to send the Overlord into the main to confirm their tech, and then leave the lane at the front to see if Protoss ever moves out. Looks like this game, DragOn is going to go Stargate. Should see the second gas pretty soon. Looks like the probe got glitched out a little bit, but there's the second gas. One lane at the front sees all of Drag's movement, sees that no zealots have come out, and he can comfortably drone up here. So has the 4 links from earlier.
Looks like Overlord in the main just confirmed the Stargate as well. So looks like cRoSs is going to know exactly what's up here, going on in the mid game here. It should be pretty comfortable.
Yeah, looks like we're going to head into another standard mid game, which is pretty nice. Drag not going for that Archon Zealot attack this game. We're going to see something a little bit more normal, some Corsair build. Looks like he's getting +1 ground and no +1 air quite yet. Let's see if he can afford it now, but he's not opting to go for it. Citadel instead. We have the Corsair about to be finished. We should be able to get 1 Overlord kill with this. cRoSs trying to hide this Overlord, but unfortunately, actually, it does get sent away from the Corsair path, so good movement from this Overlord. You can see Drag is searching for it at the angle it left his base. Overlord at the bottom side of the map being hidden. Overlord's being sent away from Drag's base as far as possible. Trying to minimize the Overlord damage he takes from the first Corsair. You can see DragOn searching for that Overlord, has not been able to get any. Doesn't even see where they are. And cRoSs is going up to 5 hatcheries, Hydra Den, and Evolution Chamber, so everything normal.
These Overlord positions are actually pretty ingenious, like really just far away from anywhere that would be, conventionally useful, so going to have a really hard time finding those. Of course, they're still searching around for an Overlord. Cannot find anything, man. Yeah,
now these Scourge are actually already out, so Drag is going to have to be content with having used this Overlord or this Corsair only for scouting, not getting any Overlord kills. Would be risky to attack. At this point, we have a curious creep colony at the 3rd base. Not sure what's up with that. It's like cRoSs is not getting... So, okay, I like this build from cRoSs. This build from cRoSs is gonna dupe DragOn. He sees a Hydra Den, he sees the Evolution Chamber, but these aren't actually upgrading. He's actually getting mutas behind this. And Drag doesn't realize this. If he had realized this, he would be making more Corsairs, and looks like he is going to make more Corsairs. But probably be even getting +1. So, good misdirection by cRoSs with his build. One problem is he only has 2 drones on gas at his net. Here we come DragOn with the move out. This is a lot of drones from cRoSs. Don't have much of a ground army, but these Zealots should be picked off. Fortunately, we don't have that many mutas, and we wanted to catch DragOn off guard, but I guess this is enough. Mutas chasing the Zealots, gonna poke at them before they get to net. No Sunkens at the net critically, but forcing Drag to retreat.
Yeah, DragOn couldn't know that, unfortunately. Now, we actually did have a cancel on the Corsair that was been made, so we only have 2 right now on the field. Now, we have a 3rd one now just getting restarted here in production. So that is going to be quite a bit of a delay in which we have a large number of Corsairs to help defend against this. But the muta count is not super impressive right now. Looks like we're already transitioning into Hydralisk. Hydralisk upgrades are getting researched and everything right now. So just a lot of tech swapping here to really keep DragOn on his toes. But it doesn't look like DragOn's really overcommitting to any kind of mutalist defense right now.
Yeah, we have a DragOn finally adding a ton of High Templars. It looks like he's not going to make any more Corsairs, which is a little bit curious. It is only 5 mutas after all. and the Corsairs do slow down everything. It looks like he's going to get a Dark Archon in response to the mute opening. Only 3 Corsairs with 2 cannons in the main. Looks like he's getting a 3rd cannon. We've seen in every game that cRoSs's gotten mutas, he's actually kept making mutas and caught Dragon off guard. Dragon with only 2 or 3 cannons, not enough to hold off 9 mutas. But this game, cRoSs just made the 5. He's going to transition to Hydras. Already has a healthy drone count. Getting +1, range, all the upgrades. So just a different way to open and to end up in the same mid game from cRoSs. Dragon with the Dark Archon, gaining energy. He still has High Templars, 4 High Templars this time. It's like he's making Zealots now. Not going to see a ridiculous amount of High Templars like last game. cRoSs, meanwhile, was very happy, I think, with how the game opened up. He held off the Zealot attack, was able to get away with only making 1 sunken, no sunken at the net. And now he's fully saturated on 3 bases.
Yep, we do have a drone position to take the 4th as well. Very good supply count as well for cRoSs, staying very, very close, if not above the supply of the Protoss player currently. It's kind of going back and forth a little bit, but generally speaking, being really even with a Protoss on supply at this point in the game is pretty nice here. Of course, the Gateway Explosion is about to kick in, so we should see Dragon supply, you know, kind of start to really fly up there as he prepares for his big mid-game attack and follow up to take his 3rd base here. So cRoSs, this time getting his 4th base much more quickly than his opponent's 3rd, so that is going to be quite the boon here. And going forward, I feel like he is in a pretty good spot here. As you can see, really not banking up quite the number of Templar that we saw last game, as you said. Already transitioning over to Dragoons, which is going to be really good for cRoSs's, you know, normally very heavy Hydralisk style. As you can see, he's got quite the pile of Hydralisks kind of piling up around his natural and 4th base here. So things looking very good for cRoSs, and I would expect that this mid-game goes pretty well for his game plan.
And the supply do look like they're in cRoSs's favor a bit, but we have to factor in this Dark Archon, that while it only takes up 4 supply, it provides a ton of utility. So Dragon's army, while it's only 120 supply, it's actually going to be a lot stronger with this Dark Archon in support.
Yeah,
We have Dragon going up to the 8 gateways, and his +1 armor just finished, so this is time to go out with his 1/1 upgrades. cRoSs, meanwhile, Lurker just finished. He has the first couple of Lurkers morphing in. You have Hydra groups all over the map. You have the mutas getting maelstrommed instantly, so these 5 mutas not going to be able to do much.
Honestly, though, it's not the worst thing in the world. The Maelstrom, I think, could have provided a lot more value versus a clumped-up group of Hydralisks. With only 5 mutas, I mean, he could have potentially gotten some kills on the High Templar, but it isn't the most valuable portion of cRoSs's army, and cRoSs setting up for one of those trademark 270, 360-degree surrounds. He's got Hydralisks engaging all over the place. The Zealots engaging a nice ball of Hydralisks over here by the 3rd. That is going to leave all the expensive Dragoons and all that very open to being attacked here. Now that those Zealots have been taken care of here, the reinforcing Zealots are being pushed off by the Lurkers in the middle of the map, so things looking very good. And as we said earlier, we didn't have a Maelstrom for that initial engagement, but we do have 2 more seconds left until we have a Maelstrom. So we're going to see probably a pretty big turn here. Where is it? Oh my god, another two Hydralisk Maelstrom. That's pretty awful.
We did still get the turn, and Dragon, behind this attack, he did take a 3rd. He's actually adding even more gateways now. He's going to go up to 10 gateways. Forge is working on another upgrade, and cRoSs, in the meantime, is getting +2, almost done. Big power spike for Hydras when they get +2. You have only a couple of Lurkers with this army. And Dragon is actually mixing a lot more Zealots in. So I feel like this fight's going to go differently. We have the Lurkers at the front, unfortunately, going to get picked off instantly by the Zealots. We want the Hydras to buffer for the Zealots as the Spines goes off on the Zealots. Not that great of a storm, but with superior Zealot numbers, I think Drag just... I mean, killing the Lurkers instantly is key there. Every second the Lurker stays alive, it can do, I don't know, if it hits 10 Zealots, that's 200 damage per Spine.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. They're quite good units, of course, versus Zealots. Now, the first storm as well was just spectacular. Got a ton of Hydralisks on the top portion of the army. So, unfortunately, cRoSs's just, oh my gosh, taking very inefficient trades just in general right now. Oh my god.
Four Lurkers at the front. Looks like, okay, wisely retreats. Why is he burning them? He's burning them without support, but looks like Dragon's not on top of this.
Okay, the Hydra army does come, and this time the lurkers have not yet been engaged with.
Yeah, with 4 lurkers and not that many dragoons, this is going to look a lot different. And if you look at Dragon's rally and his gateways, he's producing mostly Zealot High Templar, so he's going to be forced back here.
Alright, lurkers burrowing behind the army. In the retreat. Oh, look, did you hear how many Zealots just died with those first couple of spines? Oh my gosh.
cRoSs gets pushed back there a little bit. We do have 4 bases. As cRoSs, we're getting a lot of gas now with this 4th gas. Able to morph even more lurkers. He's still missing a couple of drones, you could tell, because he's not at 1 per patch at his 3rd or 4th. So it looks like he missed a window to saturate those bases. His economy is good, but not booming like it should be. And meanwhile, securing a 4th base, realizes cRoSs is on their tech still. In no rush to attack really. He can, with good upgrades, combat the mass Hydra army. We have the Dark Archon ready with another Maelstrom. Good first storm from Drag. Kind of a whiff on that second storm. Good third storm on the Hydra and Lurker combination. Being forced to retreat. His Dragoon number is suspiciously low. We have another good storm. I'm still waiting for that Maelstrom.
The thing is the way that cRoSs engages usually in these very large arcs, so it's really difficult to hit that big Maelstrom on like a large group of Hydralists. Ooh, massive Lurker morph coming here in the middle of the map. But, you know, Dragon's got 4 bases up now. If he can continue to build cannons up the top of that ramp there, and maybe get 1 or 2 High Templars up there, that base is going to be completely secure, and 4-base Protoss is very, very scary. That starts to be that point where it feels like they can go for forever. They have a whole new lease on life if they get that 4th base up. Which is really rough for cRoSs, and cRoSs, having been invested so heavily into Hydra Lurker, is not going to have that hive tech that he really needs to combat a very large number base count Protoss.
We have a ton of lurkers now, so it's going to be a lot harder for Drag to just A-move into these units. You have cRoSs finally setting up to take a 5th base. You can see a drone at the middle only. That's what he needs.
Oh, big Maelstrom, though.
We need a storm, though. We need a storm on the Maelstrom. Looks like Drag is moving forward into the lurkers.
Oh, no. The Zealot number is dwindling incredibly quickly now.
Alright, but Drag does get a 4th base established, and now it's even bases. And cRoSs on a timer. He is not scaling into Hive. His upgrades are going to be capped at 2. Meanwhile, Drag is already at 2-1, getting a 2nd armor upgrade. And with a 4th base, he's matching, or actually even doing better than the Zerg's economy. cRoSs is still a few drones short of where he should be. He's been really focused on making units and trying to gain position on the map.
Yeah, this game is... I just feel like this game has gone pretty unfortunately for cRoSs so far. I mean, like, he started out with such a nice big supply advantage here. You would have thought that he would have been able to transition that into a more powerful mid-game army. But unfortunately, Dragon's engagements have just been impeccable. He's done such a fantastic job at fighting the Zerg army and continuing to trade very favorably.
Fortunately, we do lose that Dark Archon. I think that Dark Archon, even though it whiffed on that Maelstrom, it was able to get a lot of value in these fights. You have cRoSs losing the large majority of his Lurker army, and the Hydra reinforcement gets here just a little bit too late. Yeah. Curious base to attack, very close to Dragon's rally, and just overly ambitious. Drone at the mineral only still hasn't laid down the hatchery.
Yeah, now cRoSs is really entering Dragon's like comfort zone. This is where Dragon really takes off as a player. And I just feel like, man, this is sort of a mistake. I mean, we saw the first 3 games that cRoSs really was very dominant, and they were all very short, very aggressive games. And without that, you know, as you can see, Dragon's just too solid, man. He just plays it out, and he just gets a bigger army, and he just gets more units, and he just mines more money than you. And you know, his mechanics in the late game are almost unrivaled by like foreign Zergs or foreign Protoss players or foreign Terrans. They're all. He's just the late game machine, you know. It just keeps grinding until it gets there, and it just kills you after having more bases than you for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have Dragon finally with a large Dragoon number. cRoSs is still attacking, forcing Drag back, but he's forcing Drag back into his 4 bases. Drag is very comfortable here. His +2 armor just finished. He's getting +3 on his forge. No second forge this game, but still has very well upgraded army. It's like cRoSs' Lurker's doing a lot of damage in that fight, but as you can see, Drag just retreats and storms and eats a lot of the Hydras. And with this force base economy kicking in, Drag is about to be maxed and just looking to be in a really, really strong position. His upgrades are much better than cRoSs'. His army comp is looking better and better by the minute. We're getting more Dragoons. Dragoons are critically what you need in the mid-game against Zerg if they stay on Lair Tech. It's very hard for Hydras to engage Dragoon Storm.
Alrighty, well, cRoSs now finding himself at almost only 50% of the supply for DragOn. DragOn getting very dangerously close to maxing out. As you said, his upgrades are better, his tech is better, his army is larger, his economy is better, he's got more bases, he's got literally every advantage that you can have in StarCraft. The only thing that cRoSs has going for him is he's playing Zerg, and sometimes he can just grind it out with Hydralisk, but I don't think this game is going to be the game, man. I really feel like, man, DragOn is not the type of player to slip up this hard.
And we have DragOn even taking a 5th base. Looks like it might get denied. But Drag just keeps expanding. He doesn't care. He'll fight. In the middle of the map, you can see Drag has never crossed onto cRoSs' side of the map. He's been content to defend. cRoSs' been the one who's been aggressive, trying to get something done. And it looked good earlier, but eventually the fight started to go in Drag's favor. And with Drag scaling better into the late game with his upgrades, with his economy, looks like cRoSs just got left behind. Never droned up, never made more than 45 drones. A bit unfortunate. Never got that crazy Hydra production. 7 hatcheries is a lot, but it's nothing compared to 9 or 10.
Alrighty, well, we finally have the big attack here coming from our Protoss player, DragOn. Now, things getting very dicey here for cRoSs. His army is just getting chased around. And it looks like we're basically in, we're in the death throes here for cRoSs. As we have DragOn kind of pushing in here now to the natural expansion, there's no more room to retreat, no more room for fancy micro. You just got to be able to stand up and fight, and with only, like, 1 control group, 1.5 control groups of Hydralisks, there's not much fighting to be done.
DragOn barreling into the net. You can see his army has been staying alive. These Zealots are extremely beefy, and cRoSs taps up.
Alrighty, well, that is DragOn coming back from the break here. 3-3, tying the series up, going to the very last game, guys. Holy crap. DragOn is playing like a king. Things is so funny, because at the beginning, we had cRoSs just crushing DragOn, and now cRoSs's got not been able to do anything, essentially, in the early game, and it's always going to that later game, and DragOn is just, getting into his comfort zone and really just being able to slam it home. So, very, very nicely done, guys. Unfortunately, I will be right back. I promise it won't be the whole 5 minutes this time, but I am a little bit sick, so I gotta go take care of some bodily function. We'll be right back in just a moment, guys, and we'll head into the very final game of the series here in just a moment. If you could just getting tongue-tied here. You guys could take a second, though, and visit the match arena for us, guys. It'd be really, really appreciated. This is the absolutely final chance that you're going to have to contribute to the prize pool, as after this we will have been determined a winner of NASL3. So we really appreciate all you guys' support that we've had in the past, and we're going to be heading into the final game just after this break. Alrighty, guys, as promised, tried not to take up that entire break there. We are back, and my apologies, just not feeling very good today. But we are going to be going on into the very, very final game of NASL3 to determine our champion. So please, in the chat, guys, support who you're rooting for, man. And if you guys could take a moment before we head on to the next game and just stop by Matcherino, use that coupon code, guys. Try to do those surveys. Really, really, really appreciate that. Alrighty, guys. Well, Here comes the big reveal in just a moment. We're going to see what the map is going to be on. If your bets haven't been placed already, better get them set. But we are just about ready to get on into it. Here we go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in the bottom left-hand corner spawning as the white Protoss, we have DragOn coming all the way back from the brink to make this a 3-3 series.
In the top left corner, we have the red Zerg cRoSs. And now the map is Polypoid, so we're going to see Polypoid for a third time, right? If I'm correct.
That is correct.
Fix the scores to show it's 3-3. This is the ace match, the final match of the tournament. And it's Polypoid. Now, let's see what kind of builds we're going to get from DragOn. I'm pretty sure he's just going to go into his comfort zone. Going to go Forge and then double scout. Every game we've seen from cRoSs, he's gone for Overpool, right? If I'm correct. Maybe he went 12 hatch once, I don't remember.
Yeah, always Overpool every game.
Alright, so we have the Pylon Scout from DragOn, as expected.
Oh, we don't have an Overlord this time, though. We are already at 170 or so minerals. This is going to be a
first time in this. Yeah, for the first time in this series, cRoSs is going for something other than Overpool. But I expect Drag to double scout. I wonder if this is going to be 9-pool or 9-pool speed. We have a drone going in, but this could be a cancel. Second the drone, and there's a cancel. So just 9-pool, not going to be super all in, just trying to get links slightly faster. Sometimes you catch Protoss off guard. Pretty good build to do on a 4-player map. And here comes Drag with the Forge, and he's going to scout cRoSs last again, but he should have cannons well in time to defend from 9-pool.
Yep, and that is the double scout doing its job right there. DragOn, not someone to take too many chances here. Very good that he's doing that. Look at that cRoSs trying to do his best to delay the scout a little bit here with a little bit of body blocking from the drone. Unfortunately, not too successful. But here we go. Should be double cannon.
Yeah, first cannon gets laid down by DragOn. He's going to see this Overlord coming from the hatchery, knows that it's 9-pool, and then there's a second cannon. cRoSs very all in. He's only going to make 6 things, most likely going to get that nat hatch, and he's not even going to go directly to Drag's base, knowing that these cannons are going to be up well ahead of time. More important to just snipe off this probe.
Of course, you still need to make the 6lings in order to make sure that the cannons don't get canceled. That's very important.
Alright, chasing that probe. Looks like it's about halfway to dying. Drag trying to control as best as he can. You can't really rely on keeping this probe alive against 6lings. Against 2 and 4, it's a different story, but against 6, it's pretty difficult. Drag throwing down that Nexus. Gonna get a gateway next. And he leaves cRoSs' main. Looks like cRoSs' gonna get that gas and a third hatch. Probe is rerouting back into the main, but cRoSs' link should be able to deny that. Waiting for Drag to... Okay, there's a second pylon from Drag.
Ooh.
And gas. Probe is still alive, but hasn't been able to get back into the main.
Let's see, I don't believe he's been able to... Has he confirmed the third yet either?
No. Has not confirmed the third, but he saw based on the gas timing that it should be a third somewhere out on the map. Most likely it's going to be that base 2. Overlord getting into Drag's main. Looks like Drag. Nat is about to finish. There's a cybernetics core going down. Gonna put 3 on gas and then transfer to his Nat. Probe is still alive, but not able to get any ground. Of course, very difficult to maneuver around the 6lings, and we have cRoSs going for Hydra. And so for the first time we have 9-pool, and for the first time we have 3-hatch Hydra.
I think cRoSs is recognizing that he's a little bit outclassed in the late game here. Every game that it's gone just kind of like pretty normal for him. Even when he's gone into the mid and late game with a bit of an advantage here, cRoSs's just not been able to keep up with the mechanics of DragOn. And I think this is a good choice, honestly. You know, DragOn has shown a little bit of a early game weakness to aggression and things like that. DragOn was able to be exploited for those first 3 games for some pretty quick, easy wins for cRoSs. And mixing this up is pretty nice. He's been able to deny scout this whole time, and it's a good time to go for a bit of
Alright,
evasion.
this is very important. This is very important. So Drag is getting a target because he has no scouting, so can't just go blind citadel. But what's very important is to keep this probe alive to around 505, 510. With the 9 pool, you're gonna have slightly later gas if you go for link speed after lair, but having that probe die before he can confirm if this is link speed or not is actually pretty important. Now Drag doesn't know or doesn't have that information. Not seeing link speed is a big tell that it's going to be 3-hatch Hydra, and cRoSs should know this and should not reveal to this gateway. Look how he's keeping his links out of vision from this gateway, that if he reveals he doesn't have link speed, Drag will know that this is 3-hatch Hydra. And of course this looks like it's 973. Looks like we're 1 drone short at the 3rd, but that's not a big difference. Drag is making this Corsair. It's very important to get this scout out as soon as possible. cRoSs building up the Hydras and leaving them behind. Dragon getting that 3rd cannon. Don't know if this is for safety or he suspects it's already up. That he's going to face a 3-hatch Hydra. Look at the Corsair coming in. It's going to check the path of ground units to see if he has Hydra, so he has a little bit more time to react. And as you can see, 4th cannon going up. Doesn't have to cancel his 3rd cannon.
Alright, units immediately on the wall.
Alright, just picking off the front wall. Looks like Dragon just cancels +1, knowing he's not going to be able to get that up. And he's adding a 2nd forge in the back to get more cannons up. Even more cannons coming up. He has 5 Zealots here. These 5 Zealots are going to be key in holding off this attack. Dragon getting even more cannons. He really needs this forge to finish so he can have more cannons. Archives going down, but this Archives isn't going to be of any use when you don't have a gateway. cRoSs diving in on the Zealot. Has to be careful. Even more cannons going up. Looks like the Corsair is bouncing between the hatcheries, trying to see what the larva is being spent on. Again, this Archives, while it's good to have an Archives against 3-hatch Hydra, it's not good if you can't make anything out of it. We don't have any gateways. We're still just producing cannons. This gas from Dragon is actually going to backfire. He has way too much gas for the position he's in. He's not going to be able to produce any High Templars. We'll need to maximize his mineral income so he can keep adding cannons. His Archives is at a good time, but without any High Templars to gather energy and storm, this Hydra pressure is going to continue if cRoSs wants. It looks like cRoSs, upon seeing the number of cannons, has decided to transition into drones. So a little bit nerve-wracking there for a Drag. Almost never want to die to a Hydra bus. We have 3 rally drones at the fight, at the front. And we have Dragon finally adding gateways.
The Corsair should be seeing the drones being produced here, so he knows that there isn't going to be really too much more pressure here at the front of his base. Of course, the Hydras are going to just sit out there and be annoying and deny any kind of troop movement or probe movement out on the map. But you know, overall, I think we take those. Taking a pretty minimal amount of damage. Of course, the +1 getting canceled is unfortunate, but that pretty much always happens when you get 3-hatch Hydra. And, you know, we produced enough cannons to survive, and we got our Templar tech going and everything like that, so we should be ready to rock with a huge number of High Templar for the mid-game.
That's how High Templar is being produced. Sarah's still alive. Gonna check if there's a 4th base. He wants to check the drone count and the hatchery count. It's like 2nd gas finding going down for cRoSs. Lair's about halfway done. Try getting a robo. One of the good things you can do against 3-hatch Hydra is you can take advantage of the fact that you're going to have very late tech. This robo can be used to drop as you move out. Maybe even just 1 DT to keep the Zerg forces occupied in the main as you move out. And that can do a ton of damage. cRoSs taking a 4th base with a 2nd hatch already. We have +1 on the way. Are we instantly getting lurkers upon lair? Yep, there's a lurker. We have a ton of High Templars. We're up to 6. We have a couple DTs being made, so we might end up with a lurker drop or a DT drop into the main, like I said. Corsair is still alive, seeing that there's no Spire. Looked like a Spire just went down at the net, but it's going to be a while before that is up and mutants are out. 45 probes is about what you want on 2-base saturation. If you're going to take a delayed third, you stay on 45 probes, you make that third, and then you start making probes again. Looks like, oh, okay, so this wasn't a DT drop. Now, a DT drop here would have done a lot of damage, but looks like DragOn's just going to go for a Dark Archon.
The Dark Archon choice is kind of interesting. He's been watching essentially the entire map here to kind of see what is being produced here, and I don't think he's seen really any evidence of meat or anything like that. Dark Archon, of course, good versus a lot of different units, not just versus the Mutalisk, but it is still kind of strange because it's not normally a unit that you incorporate into your army mix until quite late in the game.
We have the Lurkers being morphed, and Drag is still in his base. The Observer is about to be finished, but he really needs to break out from his base before these Lurkers get set up on this high ground and at this choke. Looks like the first Observer is out, and we do have a number of goons, but here comes cRoSs's reinforcements. He's bringing all his Hydras to the front. Only has 4 Lurkers right now, but 4 Lurkers is plenty. He's going to get a good position with them, and it's going to be hard for DragOn to break out. Corsair is scouting still. DragOn adding even more gateways. Still making Dragoons, Dark Archon building energy, but this is not going to be against Mutas. What really comes into play here, more than the supplies, more than the unit comp, it's just the positioning of the army. Drag is going to be forced to attack into an arc, and he has to be very careful here. We have the first Observer going to get picked off probably by a Scourge. We still have one more in the back, but these Lurker Spines have already done a ton of damage to these Zealots.
Storms have been good so far, and there are still a lot in the tank. Of course, Storms can be a really good tool to brute force your way out of one of these contains here. Another big storm on these Hydralisks.
Yeah, we still have a lot of High Templars in the back. Dragoon's going a little bit too far forward. Drag has to be careful here. cRoSs baiting out the Storms and then pulling back with the Hydras. Trying to target down the High Templars. Looks like most of the Dragoons have gone down, and now forcing Drag into retreat and picking off all High Templars. We only have 2 High Templars left, and Drag is still going to be producing Dragoons here as he's contained.
Alright, Maelstrom is done, and we do have a bunch of energy on the Dark Archon, so these big moves forward really quickly could potentially do some big damage here if we catch a large group of them with the Maelstrom here. Okay, we have the Dark Archon moving up. An okay Maelstrom here. Not amazing, though.
And then didn't storm them. We stormed Hydras that dodged. And now this is a ton of Hydras from cRoSs, and we don't have any storms left.
Oh no, and so much of DragOn's army is getting pushed up the ramp here. Oh, this is so unfortunate. The storms are not good. Dark Archon goes down. Templar goes down here. We've got 5 Dragoons in the natural. Plus, of course, a buttload of cannons. But still, not enough to fight this army at all.
Something to know is if you look at DragOn's main gas, it has 2,900 gas. Only 2. His net gas actually has less gas. So the fact that he's only had 2 pros on gas for this long is really hurting him. His unit comp probably wanted more High Templars to be made. Probably more Dragoons. And you can see he's floating minerals, but his gas count is very low.
Alright, well now cRoSs with all the units.
His base. cRoSs has another base coming up. He's still producing mass Hydras. These Hydras are going to have +2 pretty soon. And this position is looking more and more suffocating by the minute.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with no Head Templar, we could just walk into this army, I think, with the amount of Hydralisks and Lurkers that we have and just go crush it. I mean, look at this. Look how fast the army of DragOn just loses all of its HP if anytime it steps forward to try and engage in all this. Looks like DragOn immediately GG's and leaves the game. And that is going to be the final game. cRoSs coming back at the very end. Like, I thought for sure DragOn was going to do the reverse sweep. We were so close. But what a spectacular series, man. I mean, cRoSs and DragOn fighting tooth and nail. Getting all the way to the very final game, and it looks like cRoSs is just going to eke it out and become the winner of NASL3.
Yep. So a new champion for NASL. DragOn played well all tournament long. Almost came back all the way against cRoSs, but just fell a little bit short. And that'll do it. That's NASL3.
Well, congratulations to our winner, guys. Thank you all so much for all the support. We appreciate you all showing up every weekend to watch the streams. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Thanks so much to Afrika for sponsoring this season. It's been fantastic working with everybody here at NASL Ring, of course. All the hard work from the team as well. We really appreciate that. Thank you all to the folks who've been donating either balloons or over at the Matcherino as well. Really appreciate that. We've got quite a nice little prize pool stacked up for our winners. So thank you all so much for everything you guys have been doing. And please continue to support Foreign StarCraft. Of course, there's going to be, you know, like another Have Asked You next weekend. Lots of good stuff to continue watching. Last year, I think, is every weekend on Saturday. Is that correct?
Saturdays and Sunday. We're going to change the time to coordinate better with NAS tier. I mean, with Have At You. We're going to do it before Have At You, so at 3 p.m. Eastern. Now, a couple announcements. This event is over. Afrika sponsored it, but NASL Ring is going to do another event with Afrika, and it's going to be announced pretty soon, starting in August, probably mid-August. Nation Wars is coming back. And it's going to be sponsored by Afrika. And again, $1,000 prize pool this time. All streams will be on Afrika, of course, but just a bit of news on what's coming up next.
All right, guys, so you heard it here. Lots of exciting StarCraft coming up, guys. Remember to continue to support your local scenes, whoever you really like to enjoy watching on whatever platform it is. Just keep watching StarCraft. Keep helping out with the prize pools if you can. And we will see you sometime soon here with a lot of awesome StarCraft to come. All right, guys, everybody have a good one. Please, again, just take a quick second to check out the match arena and use up those final couple of coupon codes that we've got there, and maybe consider filling out a survey. But yeah, thank you all so much for showing up, and everybody have a good rest of your weekend.
Si te gustó este video, no olvides darle like. Y si aún eres nuevo y aún no te suscribes, te invitamos a hacerlo y a darle clic a la campanita. Recuerda que todos los días viernes estaremos subiendo nuevas guías y nuevo material, todo en relación con Starcraft remasterizado. Hasta la próxima, amigos.